Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here. Welcome to day 6 of the 10-day beginner wire weaving challenge. I'm calling this a beginner wire weaving challenge because I am actually quite new to wire weaving. I look forward to hearing other tips and tricks along the way from other jewelry makers. I truly believe when we teach, we learn, and I'm so excited about this wire weaving learning journey. Today we're making wire woven sun and moon earrings. I am using 18 gauge and 26 gauge silver artistic wire. I'm using the Beadalon Glimmer Series nipper tool, their nylon jaw pliers, and their slimline round nose and chain nose pliers. We are going to start with about 8 inches of 18 or 20 gauge artistic wire, and we are going to bend it at the halfway point and then wind it around a round form. I'm using the stepped wooden ring mandrel. So bring the wires around in the moon shape and separate them so there's space between the two wires. So now we're going to add 26 gauge artistic wire for the weave, and we are going to wind it around to secure it in place. So just wind it around a couple of times and then bring it through and down to the inner curve, and we're going to get going with our weaving pattern. So we're going to wind it about 2 times in the inner curve and about 5 times in the outer curve, because the outer curve is longer than the inner curve. You can open up the wires a little bit to make it easier to bring the weaving wire through. You can squeeze the wires together if there's too much space in between them. We'll push the wire through and around to continue with the pattern. So take your time with this. It definitely is a long process to weave the wire. I am just learning as I go. I'm a beginner wire weaver, but I'm learning lots and tips and tricks in this 10-day challenge. So we'll keep going, winding the wire through and around, doing 5 coils on the outer curve and 2 on the inner curve, or you can go instinctively and do as many coils as you see fit. You can also add beads along the way if you want. Just slide the beads onto the weaving wire. I really like everybody's creativity with these challenges. We've been getting lots of interesting interpretations of the designs, and you can check those out in the private 10-day challenges Facebook group. So keep going with that weave, doing 2 coils on the inner curve and 5 to the outer curve. I will post the diagram of the weave in the private Facebook group, and it will be available in the ebook at the end of the 10-day challenge. So if you have to add more wire, you can go ahead and add another piece of wire right where you ended off, so you don't have to worry if you cut your wire too short. You can also work off the roll if you find that easier, and we are going to continue with the weave in the same pattern. So just keep bringing it around, holding the piece firmly, and then once you get to the end, we're just going to wind it around back and forth a few times to finish it off. So making sure the base wires are close together at the top, and just doing a last little coil around both to hold them together. So now we're going to clip the end of the 26 gauge wire, and with the other end, if you have to, wind it through a couple more times to finish it off and to make it more secure. you can do that, and then we're going to clip it with the flush cutters. So now we'll press it with the nylon jaw pliers to make sure there's no little pokey ends, and then we'll separate the wires and clip the bottom one to about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch and bring it around in a little spiral. You can press it again with the nylon jaw pliers and then bring the other wire up, clip it this time a little longer, it could be 1 inch or so, and then we are going to bring the end around with the round nose pliers and form a little spiral. Press it with the nylon jaw pliers, position it in place, do any little adjustments that you need, and we're just going to adjust it a little bit more to bring the loop down, and we're going to dangle a bead from that loop. So we're bringing it right down, last little press, straighten it out, you can curve it a little more. Now we're going to take a little scrap of the 20 gauge artistic wire and just make a little centered loop at the bottom. You can also use a commercial head pin if you want, and we'll just pinch the loop, center it, make it a little smaller with a pinch if you want, put a 6mm glass faceted bead, and then we're going to clip the end to about 1/2 inch with the flush cutters or the nipper tool, and take our round nose pliers, hold the wire, bend it out and around to make a centered loop. Now we're going to hook it onto that moon and close the gap in the wire. Just push it in with the chain nose pliers. And there we have the moon. So for the sun, we're going to take about 8 inches of the 18 gauge wire. You could do this in 20 gauge if you want. And we're going to start with the zigzag for the sun rays. So just using your flat nose or chain nose pliers, we're going to bend the wire back and forth. So hold the wire with the pliers and push the wire against the pliers to make a nice sharp bend. And we'll keep going with this until we have the number of sun rays that you want. So bring it back and forth. There's 6. And then just adjust it around, bring it around. Bring it down and up. And then down. So we have 7 altogether. It's nice to have an odd number. And then we're going to bring the wire in towards the center, underneath the rays, and then curve the wire around with a marker or a round form. So the curve goes just to the inside of the sun rays. And you can adjust it with the flat pliers. You see the wire comes out over the vertical wire, and you can clip that wire flush with the vertical wire. So now we're going to take the 26 gauge wire and we are going to wind it around the base wire 5 times. So just bring it around and around, squeeze it together. Now push the coil down to the bottom of the sun there. And then we're going to do our weave. So we're going to start by winding it around the bottom ray 1 time, around and back to the vertical wire. And then we're going to bring the wire around to make another coil. And we're going to go around 5 times. So just bring it around 5 times. and make sure the coil is as tightly together as you can get it. So we've gone around 5 times, and now we're going to bend it around the ray and then back to the base wire. And so we're going to bend it around again. And be sure to have a look at the template, because we're going to go back 1 ray and then do our coil. So we're kind of skipping a ray, coiling it around the center, and then going back 1. So it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So we're going to continue with that weave, winding it around the base wire 5 times, and then we're going to just bring it around the ray and then back to the base wire, wind it around, and then back. So, and then back to the middle, and then we're going to wind it around 5 times. Just taking your time with it, pushing the wire against the base wire. 26 gauge works well for this design. And the 18 gauge is a nice firm wire for the base. So we did our 5 coils, and we're going to bring the wire around the ray, 1 full turn, bring it back to the center, wind it around, and go back 1. It just gives it a nice little crisscross design. You can weave the sun in any way that you like, and if you need help, just have a look at the template. So bring the wire around 5 more times. My wire is a little long, but it's better too long than too short, so I will clip it, and then from there we just need to finish it off. So we are going to wind it around the last ray, bring it through, pull it with the chain nose pliers so it's nice and snug, and then we'll clip that end. And we're going to clip the beginning piece, pinch it with the nylon jaw pliers, and then from there we're going to take the base wire and bend it, give it a little clip with the flush cutters, and just make a little spiral. So hold the end with the round nose pliers and bring it around into a little spiral. This is just a nice way to finish the end, and it gives a little bit of extra detail. Pinch it with the nylon jaw pliers to flatten it out a little bit. Do any little adjustments, and then we're going to do another dangle. So let's make the loop in that dangle with the 6mm glass faceted bead, and I'm just going to hang it on the last ray, pinch it closed, and here's how it looks vertically with the pair. And my husband suggested to hang the sun the other direction, so you can hang them any way that you wish. Be sure to join the private Facebook group to participate in the challenge and to check out other viewers' creations. At the end of the challenge, I'll be putting together an ebook which will be available after the challenge is over. Check out all the details in the description below the video. Good luck everybody, and have fun with the projects.